December 18th, 2024, Public Hyde Park Planning Board, Town of Hyde Park Planning Board. Let's all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. There are no public hearings tonight. We'll be going directly into workshop. And our first item on the agenda is East Park Auto Wilberts. Come on down.
Evening.
Nice to see you gentlemen again.
Yeah, thank you.
Did you drive all the way back and now drove all the way back down?
Yeah. I told you it's the most important thing to us. So.
You're getting a lot of good book reading?
Oh, books on tape, yeah.
Excellent. Could you just introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, my name is Josh Kuhn, and I'm with Wilbert's Family Enterprises, the company name.
And I'm Jack Seidler. We've sold the business to Wilbert's.
Thank you very much. So we did a site walk on Sunday, a few of us, myself and Ms. Wasser and Mr. Tuttle and Ms. Victoria Polidoro and our planner, Bonnie, who is not here tonight, but she sent, I'm so sorry.
Megan,
Thank you, Megan. And she prepped some comments based on that site walk, which I haven't really had a chance to look at because it came out this afternoon. But it was lovely to see the spot and to see that it's been a local Hyde Park business for over 60 years. Is that correct? Or almost 60 years?
Yeah, because it was there years before my dad bought it. My dad
Oh,
bought
okay.
it in 67.
In your family, it's been,
Yeah.
okay. So it's a long-standing Hyde Park business. We're really happy to see it get carried on. So we did a tour. We walked around. We saw how, we learned so much on these site walks. We learned basically how this business runs. The cars come in. They get all fluids drained out of them. They get inventoried in various ways. And there's trucks coming and going that are taking some of the parts that come out of these cars and delivering them to places. And it seems to be a very active and really lovely to see all the recycling and just all the reuse. It was actually lovely. So tell us what your impressions were.
Yeah, we love educating local town governments on kind of like not getting away from the junkyard misnomer, the junkyard dog, trees growing through cars. You know, as you can see there, the inventory turns over very fast. There's no junkyard dogs, just junkyard cats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's. The junkyard word is a 4-letter word in our family. We call ourselves automotive recyclers, but there's still junkyards out there. But everything is very professional, and it was nice to be able to tell you guys about how we are different from Jack and Pat and ourselves are different from that old junkyard misnomer. A professional organization, if you will.
Yeah, it was really lovely to see, and really exciting to know that you're going to be taking this over and then elevating it to yet another level.
Yeah.
But it obviously runs very well right now. So
Thank you. Well,
so again, I didn't really have a chance to read all the comments. Did you receive this letter?
I did not. No.
Cynthia?
They weren't.
Do they receive the comment letters?
I don't think so, because we just got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
you will be getting this.
Okay.
And this is a great outline. Bonnie does a great job of basically identifying the places in the code that she thinks you should take a look at closer that might then translate onto the site plan.
Okay.
I didn't think there were any big surprises.
No,
I read it, there were no big surprises.
No, it was basically what we were talking about, screening and setbacks
Yeah.
and the septic system a
Yep.
little bit and the trailers and just identifying everything that we need to see on the site plan so that we can do the full review and give it,
Sure.
consider it for approval.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Ted, I'd like to ask you if you have any comments.
No,
Well, you're not on.
It's kind of on.
the
you go.
original plan had a restriction for the cars that are brought in that are wrecked in the front. So I'm hoping that there can be some screening added, because I know that you need to put them there and then process them. But that's
Yeah.
one concern.
Do you mean like in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, we know that's a concern with every, local municipality we work in, is the vehicles that are damaged are behind the fence line and not visible. And currently, there's a space limitation where sometimes they get dropped off. But if they do get dropped off and it's outside of business hours, we will bring them back immediately. They won't stay out there. Or we're going to make space inside the yard that they can be stored out there. I think generally they might spend a little bit more than 24 hours out there currently, but we have some space to clean up to make room for them inside the fence line.
Yeah, they're not usually out there very long.
No, and I noticed that at other various places also. At the middle of the night, they need to put them somewhere, and then you drive by later on in the day and they're gone.
Yeah,
But, yeah, so whatever you can do to
yeah.
help make that a little nicer.
The biggest other thing that I think was hours of operation, I think is one of the big ones, and we're 8 to 5, but we have people show up at 6, and but that's low impact. They're loading parts on trucks and then leaving, and it's not like tractor trailers driving down the road hauling scrap or any of those kind of things, and the equipment's not being run before 8 a.m. with the backup.
You're not crushing the cars.
Not crushing cars and, at midnight or anything like that. It's generally the bulk of the business and the noise generation is 8 to 5.
Understood, yeah. And you also were explaining to us, again, the schedules of the trucks that come in and load and get out early so that they can get their parts down to the city before the rush hour hits.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean-
Employees show up at 4 a.m. And start working, but then the first truck, we try to get them out by 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
But it's smaller,
Yep.
delivery trucks like your Amazon style.
But that's just loading a truck.
Yeah,
That's- okay.
yeah.
So do you know what your new sign is going to look like, or are you going to keep the same sign?
It's a new business sign. So the next step for us, if we get a permit from the town, is to apply. We have to apply with the letter from the town saying we're cleared to operate on the property, and that goes to New York State DMV, and they make sure the sign matches our business. So we'll put the sign up when we are applying for the DMV permit.
So if you want a pre-approval, if you know what that sign is going to look like, so you don't have to come back and apply for a new sign permit.
It can be part of the
It
application.
can be part of your site plan
Okay.
application, if you know.
Yeah,
what's-
we can definitely add that in. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes, and worked with Tad to find out exactly what the numbers and the specs need to be. Megan? Sure.
Thank you. So, as stated in our letter, this is going to require a new special use permit since they're changing hands of ownership, and it's going to require a public hearing for that special use permit. Referrals, we would recommend the Roosevelt Fire District, the Hyde Park Fire Inspector, the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, and potentially the New York State DEC due to some wetlands on and around the property. We note that the adjoining parcel, also owned by the same ownership, has had some encroachment. So that's something that we would like the applicant to address, whether it's adding that parcel to the application and including it in a site plan, or removing the encroachment and potentially delineating the difference between the two lots so that encroachment doesn't occur again in the future.
And if I remember, we could see that other parcel, but it wasn't clear where. I mean, it's just one field next to another field, and one field has the autos on it, and the
Yeah.
other field is empty. But they're talking about possibly demarcating that so you can clearly see where one begins and the other ends.
Yeah, I'd have to verify. It's a good question, because I thought he included that parcel in there, because part of the parcel is I think
It's listed in the application, but
not on the site plan map.
The storage where the vehicles are going to be isn't on the map.
Right, it's just shown as lawn currently, and the encroachment isn't shown, and no proposed plans to use that space are shown.
yes, I guess the map isn't drawn over.
Here, it's got,
So does Bonnie want to see the full parcel, or?
Do you
Or
want to
just the
use
boundary?
Well, currently, there's nothing, I mean, my understanding is that there is storage being used on the site currently on that extra parcel,
If you look on
which
your-
isn't shown on the plan, it's just shown as lawn.
Lawn and gravel parking area, which extends into that parcel.
Okay. And there's no plans to expand any of
And the
that?
gravel path they show coming across.
No, there's a significant drop-off on that parcel, so like it's the usable area is that where it's, I'd have to look at the map again, honestly.
Yeah. There's a little bit of usable area, correct?
Yeah, it's not very much on that parcel. It drops off significantly off of that, so.
Okay, well, that's actually something that Bonnie brought up later in her letter of if the board would like to see topography on the site plan.
That is, it does have a lot of topography on the site.
Be curious to get Pete's perspective on that. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some, like, whether it helps with drainage and such to be able to, but, see.
Yeah, once Megan's
Photography
done,
of the
then
site.
I'll offer.
Okay.
Okay. So just continuing through this letter, obviously, I think the board has previously discussed the screening and setback issue regarding the cars. I mean, there are some that are pretty close up to the property line at this point. From aerial imagery, which we don't believe is shown on this plan. And we see that the applicant has included a 5-foot parking setback. But Bonnie has referenced a section of code here that a scrapyard shall also provide a setback around the entire perimeter of the required screening that is no less than 50 feet in depth, and this setback shall be infilled with a vegetative cover. So obviously, the site does not meet that requirement in a few spaces now as it exists, which the board may be able to, overcome, but I think that should at least be shown on the site plan. We've already talked about the encroachment. Another section of the code discusses that fire extinguishers are required on the site, and the applicant should just address whether or not they meet that requirement. Lighting, it didn't appear that there was any lighting present on the site other than the front of the building, which is consistent with the previously approved site plan. We would just like a note added to the plan that no additional lighting is proposed. The septic system should be shown on the plan. From what Bonnie learned in the field, it appeared that there were cars parked over the septic system, so that's something that we'd like Pete to weigh in on as well. Trailers are present on the site for storage, and we would request that the zoning administrator weigh in on whether or not those should be shown on the plan as well. Vehicle crushing equipment is located on the site, which is also not shown on the site plan. The planning board should discuss if you would like that to be shown.
That comes and goes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
transitory.
it's not permanent.
It's not permanent.
But
Yeah.
it might be an area that could be marked as where it
Right,
will
that's
go.
that's where it's going to happen, if it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you bring the crusher in and out?
Yes.
And it stays for a certain period of time, or?
Currently, they're using another company to crush vehicles, and it depends on the person's schedule, I guess. He started and then he had to leave. Something more important came up, so it's been sitting there, I think, longer than normal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But in our instance, we have one that we would probably bring in and it would do its job and then leave, basically. Yeah.
I mean, I guess as long as it's, designated, as you said, on the plan.
I'm thinking, what how we do for snow storage.
Right, it's
that
going to be, this is going to be the area where this activity would
Yeah.
occur.
Has that moved around through the years, or does that tend to be the spot that seems to be the
It's
best?
been in that area the last few years, yeah. It could move, though,
Right.
depending on how.
So you may want to consider that as you're looking at the site and
Mhm.
saying, this is where it is now, and we'll use it for now, and if you come back in for
And
another
we may get input
amendment.
from, when we have the public, hearing, we may get some input from, neighbors
Yes.
that may, have an
Yep.
impact on,
Yep,
or not,
right,
as to where that might be, so,
yes.
sorry.
Okay. So in the previously approved plan, there was a fire lane shown around the entire perimeter of the property, which has not been installed. And so, since this is adjacent to residential properties, perhaps the lack of a fire lane around the entire perimeter is a good thing because it would allow more room for plantings, but we just don't know if that's a requirement for fire code, New York State, so that's just a question. The site plan shows a small pond to the south of the parking area along Crum Elbow Road, and Bonnie did not see that when you were out on your site visit. So if that's something that needs to be for stormwater, et cetera, and it's not there, then that should be discussed by the applicant. And then we just had a few comments about the bulk table, including the fact that on the previously approved plan, 21 parking spaces were shown. We recognize that 21 parking spaces might not be required at this point since there was also a proposed retail building on that site plan that was never constructed. And in conclusion, the planning board, if you determine that this is just a transfer of the license, a change of ownership, this could be classified as a type 2 action.
Yep. Thank you. Pete?
Well, I wasn't able to attend the site walk because I was away, but as far as this initial application, I don't think there's that much from an engineering perspective. I understand that they may come back in time to do some upgrades to the facility, but this is more meant to document existing conditions, make sure it's on a site plan that we can approve so that they have a baseline for when they come
Right.
back. But so, and I know there was one comment in there that Bonnie had about the septic system. I mean, cars should not be parked, cars shouldn't be parked on the septic system, so I'll probably just make a comment that that area should be fenced off or something like that so that cars can't be in that, area, or else over time that, septic system could
It could fail, right?
fail, yeah. So I don't know if anybody had noticed any potential drainage-like issues on the site, or,
There was an intermittent.
There was one area of runoff
Across the middle.
off of
Okay.
just beyond the loading dock area, before you go out into the yard.
Yeah.
It looked like it was coming down. There's a very large rock outcropping there.
Okay.
And it looks like it was coming down and just finding its natural way down.
all right, well, Ted, were you there on Sunday? Did you want to go out maybe one day with me?
It might be good for
So
you both
so
to
maybe
take a-
what we can do is we can contact, the owner, and then we could just go up there, like Tad and I, and take like a walk around, and then, I'm sure it's not a
Yeah.
big deal, but if there's some,
Yeah, I mean,
minor
I'm
things that need
I'm
to
sure
be
you guys
done.
would be amenable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to have you guys
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
it.
so we'll do that, and then, we'll make some comments, but shouldn't
Yep.
be a big deal.
That was the only thing that I saw, because the topography is such that it's really hard for water to pool anywhere on that site.
Okay.
So I think we found the one piece that visually that you could see that it's draining off.
Okay, All
And
right.
it could be going to that pond to the south, I don't know.
all right. Okay.
Okay, great, yeah.
So your name is on the application with a phone number, contact the owner?
Cynthia does have our information,
Okay.
but if I
Well,
can.
you would need to be here because you're up in, Rochester.
Yeah,
which-
Jack or
Yeah,
Pat
we'll-
will be here, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just contact Jack. We don't want you
Yeah.
to drive down from Rochester.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I would say, the people that we did give the site visit to, is our industry is highly regulated, and the DMV, the DEC, and all that. We water sample quarterly now. It used to be biannually, but now, or semi-annual, I should say. But now it's, I think it's quarterly now that we have to get water samples.
No, those are water samples from your own on-site well.
Yeah, we submit the plan, the stormwater plan, to the DEC, and they approve it, and we measure it at outfalls right after a rain. There's like specific rules of when you can measure it, and
Does that
So
plan
you're-
exist? You have a stormwater plan for the site?
we are submitting it to DEC currently.
I believe they're covered by a multi-sector permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Is that something that, so we were asking about drainage and
That
such.
DEC covers the stormwater stuff through the multi-sector
Yeah, so maybe
permit.
what you
Oh.
could do is once you, we don't need the interim plan, but once that they approve like a final plan, it'd be good to just
Yeah.
submit that to the town, so we just have it for, the file. We're not going to comment on it because they're the ones
Yeah,
that
the-
are in
the
control of
jurisdiction.
it, but it'd be
Yeah.
good to just have it for the file,
Okay.
so.
Even if we don't require like all the elevations and everything on a plan for this application, when you come back for
Yeah,
site
well,
plan, you would
yes,
need it.
that's
So
correct.
there is,
Yeah.
that's in your future.
I mean, we could, it's very easy, and it might not be a bad idea. I mean, they can get LiDAR and like topo, that's, pretty accurate. So maybe that's something that we'll ask them to do. They can get that for free, and it's pretty accurate, so they don't have to get a surveyor out there to do any surveying, and then they can update it, at some later point in time. But it might be good to have it on the, the base plan for now.
What did you
but-
call that?
LiDAR.
LiDAR, as in radar, but LiDAR?
LiDAR, that's right, LiDAR as in radar.
Penetration sonar.
It's pretty accurate. I mean, I've used it, I've actually used it for, design, minor stuff.
Yep,
Like
okay.
design work, but it's pretty accurate.
The stuff you learn.
See that?
Anything else, Pete?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, great. Victoria?
So Bonnie's memo covered most of the issues. The applicant and the board should really just look at Article 25 of the zoning law. That is the one that has standards for scrapyards. And so the 50-foot setback is in there, the requirement for screening. I know that we went there and we thought maybe it wasn't that visible. It felt kind of like a bowl. But the board and the applicant should look at what the requirements are, and then the applicant should say either how it's being addressed, request a waiver, or potentially an area variance if needed from the requirements.
That makes
Okay.
sense?
Yep.
Good. All right. Anything else?
We do have a resolution prepared
Yep.
for tonight to refer it to county planning, to classify it as a type 2 action, and to make a courtesy referral to the fire department. If the board agrees that it's type 2 and that there's not anything on the plan that was new or expanded, then we can go ahead with that.
So we were comparing, as we were walking the site, I had a little version of the 1993 site plan, and there wasn't a lot of change. I mean, there's not a lot you can change on that site, just because of the topography. Everything was pretty much where it was. They have to add things onto this one because they do have, I think, at least one building that was not on the 93 plan, but there were not a lot of big differences.
Right, there was a building, but that's probably, it was less than 4,500 square feet,
Yeah.
so that would still be type 2.
So is that the criteria? Is if we go from a 30-plus-year-old plan to a
Yeah,
new one?
I
and then-
think it would still be type 2.
Okay. I'll ask each member to weigh in as we talk about whether you think a type 2 is acceptable. Dylan, I'll start with you.
I think a type 2 is acceptable, yeah. The only potential sort of issue I see here is with that 50-foot, that buffer. And I didn't see in the article, in Article 25, any permission that we could do a waiver for that. Would that have to be a ZBA action? Probably would, right?
So, I mean,
Put you on
the
the
planning
spot.
board can waive some requirements, but generally, when it's a firm number, it becomes an
So-
area variance.
Right. And specifically, I'm thinking we've got these two parcels that are in common ownership here, and they're crossing over. So obviously, they're not meeting a 50-foot barrier on that common ownership.
Correct.
So that's just a potential.
I mean, they have options. They could merge it. That would eliminate
Sure.
some of that issue.
Yeah,
Or it would be a basis for an area variance because they're the only one
because they're, right.
who's there. But there is some on the other side of the property as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems there's some stuff in the letter that you'll have to deal with, but to me, this all seems pretty straightforward. We'll see what the public hearing brings, if we learn anything new, but.
Thank you. Mr. Waters?
Yeah, type 2 is fine with me, and I apologize for not
Oh, it's
attending.
okay.
There was I had an emergency that I had to attend to.
It was a very nice cold day to...
Oh,
Yeah.
it was cold.
That doesn't
It
bother
was
me.
cold.
Yeah.
Any comments, though?
No.
Okay, just
No.
your type 2.
No, yep.
Stephanie?
First, I wanted to thank you for your time on a Sunday. We spent, a good hour out there, and I was really impressed by the organization, the detail, just the structure of the whole business. Very, very interesting, and I was very impressed. So I just wanted to comment on that. I don't want to put you through a topographic plan either right now at this point. If it's just change of ownership, I really don't want to see you have to do that. I do support a type 2 referral. So it's just change of ownership. So let's not, let's try to keep it simple.
Thank you so much. Mr. Oliver?
I am also in support of the type 2 action. I have no issue with that, and I have nothing else to add.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garcia?
I'm in support of a type 2 action.
Great.
Nothing else.
Great. Okay, so I think you're hearing that we're setting a good baseline. I agree, get the baseline, and then when you come back in, we can fine tune, things. But I think right now, we need to pay attention to the buffer area. We need to, that separate parcel, just see what the options might be. Might be okay for now to keep it a separate parcel. You may long-term want to merge it, which might take, get rid of a lot of problems. You might want to merge it now. If this LiDAR is easy to do, great. I'm not sure. I mean, the plan, just because the features are so pronounced on the property, once I was standing inside the house and I said, what is this big thing? And I think Jack said, well, that's a rock outcropping. And you walk out the door and you go, that's a rock outcropping. Okay, I can see that it's a 30-foot. So I'm not sure it's needed right now, but I'll let the consultants weigh in on, especially after your site visit.
Right.
Okay? So we do have a resolution. I also support type 2. And I think we might also be ready to set a public hearing for this, for our meeting in January. Start to get the comments in.
Okay.
Keep things moving.
Sure.
Okay? Who has this one? Dylan?
I've got this one. Yep. Resolution to classify under seeker and refer to county planning. Wilbert's East Park Auto, December 18th, 2024, Resolution 2024-01. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby, 1, classifies the project as a type 2 action under seeker. 2, directs its secretary to refer the project to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law. And 3, directs its secretary to provide a courtesy referral of the application to the Roosevelt Fire District, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and the Town of Hyde Park Fire Inspector.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to set a public hearing for East Park Auto Wilbert site plan for January 15th, 2025?
So moved. Second.
We missed you guys.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So we'll see you in January. I hope it's good weather.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Have a safe drive.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Texeros Polaris.
You can keep that one.
They are here for a site plan amendment and to just basically, again, get their site plan up to current use.
Good evening, I'm Rich Tompkins, Maury Architects. Paul Texeros Polaris.
Great, good to have you with us. Can you just talk a little bit about your site? And
Where is our...
oh, do you have a zip drive?
It should be in there.
We need to get a 20-foot screen.
They didn't put that in the new building plan?
No.
The drop down?
Ah, there
Sitting
it
next
is.
to it.
Someday that'll be good enough.
Wish that could be wheeled like 15 feet forward.
Right?
The presentation that I sent you in?
Is that a long cord?
The one I sent you?
I don't think so.
I don't think that long.
Actually, there is a long.
It has multiple things that it's
Yeah.
plugged into. Ah, there it is.
That looked like the first slide.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Yeah, I had put another presentation together, so this is basically the existing site plan, and the purpose of the amendment really is for a display area.
Thank you.
So that we can display and sell sheds. So that area here is on the north side of the property. That's this hatched area. Currently, this area, there is a sort of a test track to test the vehicles that runs around that area on the north side of the property. In addition to the area to sell sheds, there currently is 3 display areas where we sell equipment. And in between these 3 areas and on either side, there are a couple of dotted areas. Those would be temporary storage of trailers. So basically, when someone brings their equipment in for repair, if it doesn't go in right away or they can't pick it up right away, oftentimes they like to keep it in their trailer. So they'll actually just drop the whole trailer off with the equipment in it. It'll get repaired, picked up, and then leave. So it's an area for temporary storage of that.
Good idea.
And then the other change on the site plan is in the rear of the building. These 2 rectangles, again on the north side of the property here, are 2 existing wood sheds that have been there. And then the 4 other rectangles are just metal storage containers that were added for storage of parts. So those are really the 3 things that we're here for.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Ted, do you have any comments?
And just for the record, there are various sheds of different sizes located in that area, and is there a maximum number that you expect to have there?
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah, we do have a note on there that would be 12 sheds. And they range anywhere roughly 8 by 8 to the largest, I believe, is 12 by 20.
Okay.
So there's a various range of sizes within that.
And there's somewhat of a concern because that area was shown as the septic
12.
area
12
for the original plan.
Oh, that's the biggest one.
And I understand that weight should not be placed on top of septic systems, but I think there is a estimate of how many pounds per square foot or something that's been submitted?
Correct, yeah, we submitted a paper yesterday, about 16 pounds a square foot. So it doesn't really matter what size the shed is, it's still that 16 pounds per square foot, it's just obviously spread out over a larger, the total weight would just be spread out over a larger area.
And I am not versed in septic system maintenance, design, and construction, so I have no idea what impact that may or may not have. Maybe you do.
Well, again, ground snow load in the area is 40 pounds per square foot for snow load, so this is only 16 pounds per square foot. And they're, again, temporary, they're kind of moved around depending on what comes in, the inventory, who buys a particular size, what size comes in. And we sort of discussed this at our preliminary meeting about how they're placed. So they actually get dropped off in the parking area, and then there's a very small vehicle that's walked behind, basically, that it lifts it up. It lifts up the front end, well, they lift up the back end and put a set of wheels, and then the front end gets picked up by this machine, and they kind of just really walk it into place. So there's no heavy equipment that'll be placing any of these. The truck doesn't park on that. Everything gets dropped off in the pavement area.
Well, I mean, just trying to make sure that it doesn't add to expenses of running the business. For every 2 years of holding the storage sheds on there, you've got to do some kind of update on your septic system.
Yeah, we obviously don't want that either. I don't know what the turnaround, how often.
They could be there anywhere from probably 30 days to a year, depending how quickly they sell.
Yep, yep. And when we talk about a septic system, are we talking about both the tank and the leach fields?
The area that's depicted there is just the leach fields.
Okay.
The tank, we don't depict.
Tanks
what
are on the
tank is,
south
but
side of the building.
Are they noted?
Tanks on the south side of the building?
They're not noted on there.
Here's north, so here's the side of the building.
I think we would like those to be noted, right? Or
Yes.
no?
Was it on the original plan?
I don't think it was. So this originally was an existing site, that septic system was part of the original use of this property, and we just reused it. This was
Was this the batting cages?
mini golf batting.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I remember that.
So the septic system is
Eligible people
oversized
here
for this
forever.
particular use, and we just reused that originally.
But I don't.
So the tanks are on the opposite side of the whole, of everything? They're all the way on the south?
I don't have that information. yeah.
Do you pump, Paul? Paul?
Yes.
Does it have a pump?
It does have a pump
Yeah,
system.
that's why.
Oh,
So it's on
okay.
the south
Okay,
side,
that
so
makes
it's
sense.
got a pump.
Okay. All right, learning about septic systems.
I mean, the one thing about septic systems is, I mean, if you put, like the weight, is one thing, but a septic system normally works on aerobics, and so, you want to be able to, if you have something on top of it, it restricts, like air. So, again, I mean, if it's a big, like, septic system, you're only taking up a little portion of it, it's probably not going to be a big deal, but you should just be careful.
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
what's
it's your own, like, issue if you do have a problem with it, but.
Right. Yeah, I guess somewhat is a little deceiving, because we're showing a 70 by 140 hatched area there.
Yep.
But obviously, there's room in between all of the sheds.
Yeah, no, I understand,
We're not
Yeah, I don't think,
filling that
don't think
entire-
anybody's going to get that.
Up
That's a
on
problem.
rails, too, they're not like.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
Yeah,
So that
I don't
also
think
helps to
I don't
spread-
think it's a big deal.
Yeah. So that also helps spread that weight over the trench of each of the,
Right.
of the septic
Okay.
I mean,
laterals.
we could add a note to the plan that applicant's proposing the storage over the SDS field at its own risk, just so it's clear that we've not approved or evaluated, planning board has not, because it's like planning board has not evaluated
Right,
impact
right.
on the SDS.
I think that's acceptable. I mean, it just says we're aware of it and you're aware of it.
Absolutely.
So, and you've had these sheds there for a while. You've been
Yes.
doing that.
Correct.
So I think if there had been a major issue, you'd be
I'd
well
have
aware
known
of
about it by now.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I like that idea. Any more comments? No? Megan?
Well, they're not on.
Nothing? Oh, sorry.
Neither is Pete.
Neither is Pete. Right. Victoria?
So we have a resolution tonight to classify it as type 2 for county planning.
Okay. Let me go to my right. John?
No comments.
Chris?
No, I'm fine with it. I think it's minor, and like you said, the sheds have been there. If there was going to be an issue, you would know about it by now.
Yes.
Stephanie?
No comments.
Rob?
None at this time.
Dylan?
No comments.
Great. All right, so we do have a resolution to type it, and we would also like to set a public hearing for this in January.
Okay, there's no chance of waiving the public hearing since it is minor alterations to that? Is that a
I don't,
possibility?
I don't have that kind of
So
clout.
Above your pay grade.
We could get a recommendation to waive the hearing, but it still needs to go to county planning, so
Okay.
it doesn't save you
So it
any
doesn't
time.
save- Okay, just thought I'd ask.
Can't hurt to ask, right?
Good try.
Yep. All right, so we have a resolution.
I have it. Resolution to classify under seeker and refer to county planning, Texera Polaris, December 18th, 2024, Resolution 2024-52. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby, 1, classifies the project as a type 2 action under seeker, and 2, directs its secretary to refer the project to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to Section 239M of the General Municipal Law.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion carries. May I get a motion to set a public hearing for Texera's Polaris site plan for January 15th, 2025?
So moved.
Second. Nobody's doing it.
We're off of the rhythm.
I know, we'll have to, you'll get a new
We'll
rhythm.
get back.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight,
Thank you.
Thank you.
and we'll see you in January. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I was busy signing and
You want to give over to Rick?
Oh, long time no see, huh?
Ah, there you go. All right, next item on the agenda. Let's see. Belfield PUD Phase 2 Final Development Plan. This is for a final development plan amendment approval. Nice to see you all again.
Okay.
The seasons have changed once again.
Yes.
We're guaranteed to see you at least once every season, I think.
Guaranteed to see them every last meeting of the.
Yeah, we have no eggnog tonight either, Larry, just so you know. I know you try to get on for the last, like, meeting.
Wouldn't be Christmas, wouldn't be Christmas without you.
Yeah, there you go.
I had Jared all teed up for the eggnog.
Sorry, Jared.
I don't even have a recipe.
And then I found out that there's no eggnog tonight.
Yeah,
Nope.
So
And
we're
yet
gonna
you're
go
still
buy-
here.
So you want to go home? So you want to go home now, you're saying? Is that-
well,
But-
welcome
but,
back.
Yes, thank you very much. Larry Boudreau with Belfield, Jared O'Connor, Belfield, and of course Jennifer with Cuddy and Feder. 2 weeks ago, we submitted a letter and an application to amend, we're calling it Amendment Number 1, the FDP, which was previously approved. This is specifically to Lot 7. Lot 7 on that FDP approval was 40,000 square feet. Lot 7 is a platted lot. It has, as you may know, it has water and sewer on the west side of it, has access easement to it. It's a lot ready to go. The request, the proposal is to increase that size from the 40,000 to 120,000 in the Hart-Howerton Concept Development Plan. That parcel was designated to be 130,000 square feet. This is 120. So we're asking to update that. To do this simple amendment, it required amending 5 of the 73 sheets, and we submitted that with the application sheets 1, 10, 14, 16, and 21. In our PowerPoint, we do identify the revisions for that sheet. If you want us to go through it, we can certainly do that. This request is for, or this request is intended to be just for the building footprint, not getting into the architecture, as similar to before with the 40,000. We didn't have a tenant at that time. Same thing now, we don't have a tenant, but we do want to, from a planning standpoint, up the square footage to 120. So again, this is intended to just be for the building footprint, and that all other issues related to the building design architecture would be part of the detailed site plan approval. As you know, we have to come back with a detailed site plan approval. In the letter that we submitted, we requested to ask the board if they would consider scheduling a public hearing for the meeting in January 15th, and to circulate the county planning. So, pretty simple. We can run through it. You just let us know.
Might as well, you brought it.
Okay.
You see, he's anticipating that someone will show up with the eggnog.
Yeah.
Sorry, Larry.
Doesn't want to delay the party.
But, you know, again, the eggnog, very good.
Yep.
Very, very good.
I may learn it just so that, you know.
Carry
Part
the
of your
tradition.
duties.
Exactly.
Unless we could buy it from Michael's.
Yeah, Dylan wasn't there last year. for the
No,
eggnog.
but he has had a chance to taste it.
He's had the opportunity.
Oh,
Okay.
so eggnog.
So this is the approved Phase 2 FDP site plan, so you can see, Jared will point out, there it is right there, the 40,000 square foot building. And the next slide would be what we're proposing.
No, not for Bozzuto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an eye chart.
Just for 7.
There's the proposed plan. Now, you've seen this before in the summer. We submitted this along with the entire Phase 2 site plan.
That's
What-
sheet 131, C 131. Is that what you're looking at on the screen? I've got something I can actually see in front of me.
Okay, yeah, because I can't see this.
It looks like it.
The site plan one, I think that is what it is.
It looks
Okay.
like it, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Stephanie, you want the bigger one?
No, this is good, I just can't see that.
Yeah.
Yep, C 131.
Okay.
Now, when we submitted it in over the summer, that length on the west side of the building on the page bottom, 330 feet. And at that time, we were going in for a length variation request because we needed that on the Bozzuto plan. But obviously, this time around, we don't want to deal with that 330 feet, so by simply reconfiguring that footprint a little bit, we can get it to be compliant. And so there it is right there.
Sorry.
So within that's 300 foot, I mean, instead of 330, it's 300 feet there. So it's still the same square footage, 120,000 square feet, 40,000 square foot footprint, on 3 floors.
So what did you do?
Yeah, how did you do
Yeah.
that?
Well,
How did you do
instead of
that?
it being 330, made it 300, 300, right?
So it's 300 now.
And then made the building wider or longer on the east-west axis. On both wings and made it.
Oh,
It doesn't look like that on the...
Okay.
It doesn't have to be much.
It's only 15 feet.
It's only
It doesn't
15
have to be
feet.
much.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
So we'll, for the circulation, we'll update,
The drawing.
for the
Okay.
circulation,
Yes,
we'll
yes.
update the plans and get it to Cynthia.
Okay. Well, that's helpful then, to
Yeah.
keep everything within.
Yeah, so we're not having to run to the town board to get
Yeah.
a variation, so
Oh,
everything
good.
stays.
All right.
And this shows the charts, we worked very hard over the summer on the parking, and so this shows the parking area, pretty straightforward.
Did you comment on this already?
Yeah, so this is side by side, and again, of course, we'll update the one on the left. And the ratios change because we're increasing the non-residential, so in the Phase 2 FDP it was 60/40, so now it is, what is that, Jeremy? 54/46. 54
Wow.
resi, 46 commercial. It's gonna go up because we're increasing
Yep.
the,
Non-residential.
going from 40 to 120,000.
Nice.
Okay.
This, so this is kind of a cool slide because it shows Hart Howerton's concept development plan for Lot 7. You can see, so it has a parking garage in the back. We have that. It's hidden. It's on the east side of the building. We have that. Now, they planned that for 130,000 square feet. We couldn't get 130,000 square feet, but, we've had this discussion where you move from concept to civil, things tend to tighten up and change, and you have to deal with that. So there's a good example of that Hart Howerton overlay on the Lot 7 plan.
Oh, that's neat.
Do you want to add anything, Jennifer?
No, I think the point that's been made before is that Lot 7 is more or less independent of the rest of the, it doesn't affect anything else. And I think the Hart-Howerton plan shows that it was always the intention to screen the parking and this is just changing the configuration a little bit. So, and it does improve the ratio, keeping it much closer to the original desire to have the commercial and the residential keep a ratio as we go along.
Excellent.
So any questions you may have? We're here.
Well, let me serve it up to the, to the side first. Tad?
No comment.
No comment. Megan?
Bonnie is still reviewing the submission at this point, so we don't have any comments at this time.
Okay. Pete?
No comments. I don't think there's a lot of engineering in what we're looking at, but I will admit I'm a little behind on this. So over the next couple days, I'm going to get with Cynthia and Tad, and they can give me, the rundown a little bit, because I'm a little confused as to what we're doing, but that's okay.
That's fair, Pete.
So I'm honest.
But we were too, and then Victoria did a nice job of kind of, I know she helped me to really wrap my brain around it.
We can talk.
We can.
She's willing to share with you. Victoria?
So, I mean, what we discussed was, right now, the final development plan is sort of like a mid-concept plan. It's a step down or step up from the concept plan. And so they're asking that you approve the layout and footprint, and that we condition the approval on most of the other detailed review going to site plan. So what the board should be looking at is making sure that this doesn't trigger the changes anywhere else, like unintended consequences. Do the two connections make sense? Does it have any impact elsewhere? One of the things I know the board was looking for previously was some kind of connection between the hotel lot and this building and the parking. And I know you might not be able to do vehicle connection, but like pedestrian.
Oh, pedestrian.
Is that where it's going to be? I mean, I guess we want to understand how it's going to work, because if folks are parking in the lot, do they have to go in the back, or is it the front the most logical place to make that connection?
So is the idea that people in the hotel overflow parking that park there and then need to walk into?
Well, that's what's happening now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time there's a wedding there, it's like, where do they park?
Right.
All right, well, you can see there's a parking, Jared, let me grab that. Yeah, right there. This guy right here. So we can coordinate that with the stair tower in the parking that then would get you, so this sidewalk really would need to go here and you come up and out.
Yeah, so just something to think through conceptually.
Yep.
Excellent point.
I don't know. I don't know if you have to go through the building or the sidewalks along the road. It sounds like
So that's, I think, an excellent example of the impact it can have on the hotel and help the hotel be as successful as it needs to be.
We're doing great.
I know. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yes.
Any other ideas?
So at some point, the board will need to decide whether we need to undertake a seeker review or whether we can just reaffirm the one that was done previously. And you will recall we did seeker on the concept plan, and they've given you some data saying that the square footage is consistent with the concept plan. So something to think about for the next meeting, whether we can reaffirm or whether there's something else you think needs to be studied. Because
And so what components? I'm trying to think. The classic seeker elements. right? Traffic and environmental and noise and,
It would just be really, I mean, I think we're down to like community character. Is this such a huge change from what you looked at previously that it would warrant reopening Secra?
thank you. Anything else?
No.
All right, I'm going to start to my right again. John?
So, in the concept plan, was it 120,000 square feet?
130.
130, yeah.
This is 120.
Okay, so you're just moving the building over 30 feet,
Yeah. so
reducing the size of the square footage.
Yeah, the square footage of 120 stays the same, but the maximum length is 300, so
Yeah.
we're meeting that.
And those are the parameters that we set
Yeah,
at concept?
Yep, in
Yeah.
2021.
We did building height,
Yep.
width.
Yep,
So
I
what
have
would-
it.
So this is just an open question, what would make it such a huge change to reopen Seeker? Nothing, right?
Well,
Well,
I think
it's
in the
up to-
concept plan, they were separate
They were separate buildings?
buildings, and now it's connected, but
Yeah, that Howerton showed like a little bit of green space in between.
more mystery.
More mystery. Okay.
Which could still be done in possibly in architecture when you
Correct.
do it. I mean,
Correct.
there could be a
Yeah.
pass-through into it and stuff, so
Landscaping.
depends.
and so on.
It's the
Right.
same
Right.
square footage, so it had
Right.
certain massing that would be necessary to accomplish that. And again, I think the idea was positioning the building to screen the parking, so that's still the essence of this proposal.
Right.
Okay.
But we can
Anything
certainly
else?
submit a narrative that addresses the question of whether there is any such impact, and I agree that's something the board will look at. But I also agree with what you said, John, that it appears unlikely at this time that there would be anything like that, but should be looked at.
Agreed. Thank you. Yes.
So I appreciate how you guys kind of showed, what's approved and what's proposed, and, right next to each other. It makes it really easy to digest. And I personally don't feel that there would be any new seeker things to look at, because when you go from a concept plan to civil, that utopia drawing of conceptual design
Exactly.
often changes. The curvy lines become straight, and I think that's what we're seeing here. So I personally don't see a need for another look at seeker, but that's just me. Thank you.
Any other comments?
That's all.
Okay. Ms. Wasser?
I don't have any new comments, and I agree with Chris's comment.
Mr. Waters?
Yeah, no, it screens the parking, so that objective is still done. It's much more like Howerton in some respects, and that could be played with the architectural is going to be a key component. And I know we're leaving the architecture out, but that's what I'm interested in seeing, so that we could make sure we achieve all the
Understood.
elements. But other than that, I think it's like taffy. You pull from one place and you move to another. So it's not really changing. There's adjustments, slight adjustments.
Thank you.
And 15 feet is not
Yep.
crazy.
I just wanted to add that I also
Yes.
appreciate that the commercial ratio increased.
Increased.
Okay.
That was a nice surprise.
Yes. and
Anything else?
That
That
was
part too?
one that was going to be it too. Yep.
Right.
So the achievements were, it's kind of a comparison to what we've already seen.
Yep.
So,
Mr. Tuttle?
Not much. Happy to see this one progressing like this. Did the number of spaces in the parking deck, obviously changing the dimensions of the building is going to adjust, as the number of spaces, it's all been updated in this, right?
Yeah, I'll send that tomorrow. The parking was already over based on the ratios in our concept development book there that we put together, so we'll have no problem
Great.
meeting it.
I know you touched on that, sorry. Just, yeah. Yeah, I think I'll echo what you said. I think a lot of it comes out of the architecture. I felt like we had a ways to go with the first round of that building when it came in. I know that you know that. It was very preliminary.
Yeah, when we come into that point, we'll have a tenant. You know, this tenant will be driving, you know, the use will be driving a
Right.
lot of the form.
Yeah. Great, okay.
But you've handled the massing already, and that's what it is. It's really like the first iteration was a massing model, basically. And then now you've just tweaked the massing model to make the adjustments you needed for setbacks and things like that.
Okay.
So.
I could see the value in a short seeker memo,
Yeah.
but I also, to echo others, don't expect to see any.
Right. Thank you. Thank you all very much. So I think you're hearing some positive comments. Did we confirm that it was just the 5 sheets, Cynthia and Victoria?
So it is the 5 sheets right now. Bonnie and Pete are still reviewing to see if there are any others that need to be changed or updated. But we do have language in the resolution now that says that these are sheets to be added to the other plan so that they're incorporated in. So anything that we missed
Can be
is just part of
picked
the
up.
bigger plan.
Okay, great. So I also would echo, actually all of my colleagues, and it's nice to see, it's nice to focus on just one aspect, and it's right next to the hotel, so we can talk about their impacts to each other instead of talking about something theoretical that's far away. And this is right here. We can talk about how do they interact with each other. How can we make sure that the wedding parties can get in and out of the hotel easily and still do business. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. And same thing about the ratios increasing. That is nice. So we do have a resolution tonight prepared to, you have it? Rob, go ahead and read it.
Resolution to refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, Belfield amended final development plan Phase 2, December 18, 2024, Resolution 2022-27D, whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby, 1, directs its secretary to refer the amended final development plan set to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to Section 239-M of the General Municipal Law.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Motion passes. May I get a motion to set a public hearing for the Belfield PUD Phase 2 Final Development Plan Amendment for January 15th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. So we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out tonight.
And actually, that'll be a new season.
Yes.
So we're ticking the box.
There you go, excellent. Thank you all for coming out tonight. May you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, and a very
Yes, and you
fruitful
too.
New Year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I must say that this is such a brighter setting in this room now. Better lighting, the color of the background is very conducive
Okay,
to
good.
good conversation, and it's great to see it getting finished.
Thank you.
We'll be right back as soon as Larry buys the eggnog.
Yeah, Larry, you can bring it.
Yeah, we were hoping that you guys were going to bring it, but you let us down again, sorry. Okay, next year.
Next year. All right, next item on the agenda is Hyde Park Quick Stop. This is a special use permit and site plan amendment approvals. The applicant has requested more time, and so we need to set a public hearing for this. So can I please have a motion to set a public hearing for January 15th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Heck of a job, Rich.
Bye.
That was easier than the first one.
You're back. There you go. We're done. We're done.
So what is the actual extension time that we get? I
oh.
think we were looking for the maximum.
2-year extension.
2 days.
So they just set a hearing right now for January, at which point they will rule on the extension.
But the extension can be for 2 years?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we need that long, but, okay. Thank you.
That's what my notes say here is 2 years.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for staying around.
Happy holiday.
Right?
See you, Rich.
But they met, but has it been signed?
Okay. Now for the fun part.
Yes.
All right. We would like to approve our consultant contracts for 2024. Thank you to all of our consultants for all your work throughout the year and for helping to keep this planning board as efficient and accurate as possible. We really do enjoy working with all of you. The first resolution is to appoint Nelson Pope and Voorhees LLC as planning board consultants. December 18, 2024, resolution number 24-D, whereas the planning board wishes to engage Nelson Pope and Voorhees for planning, whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Nelson Pope and Voorhees LLC for the year 2025.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Welcome back for
Thank you.
2025. Resolution to reappoint Rodenhausen Chail Polidoro as legal consultants for 2025. Resolution number 24-E. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Rodenhausen Chail Polidoro for the year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Resolution to reappoint Gordon and Svensson LLP as alternate legal consultants for 2025. Resolution number 24-F. Whereas, now therefore be resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Gordon and Svensson LLP for the year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, I know.
I think we might actually be using them this year. Resolution to appoint Renia Engineering as planning and engineering consultants for 2025. Resolution number 24-G. Whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby authorizes the chairperson to sign said contract to engage Renia Engineering for the year 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Glad to
Thank
have
you.
you back, Pete.
For year number 30 next year.
I know. Oh my goodness, what? Woo!
Wow. 30 next year.
We're gonna have to bake you a cake.
I don't know.
Not in January.
The only thing that means is I'm getting old.
We have to rescind that contract. It's too long of a term. 30 years.
19 going on.
Well, thank you all again. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and you've got our backs, so to speak. So thank you so much. And Tad, just having you here always is just lovely. All right, so may I please get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
May you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
you.
And Happy Holidays and Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was supposed to be approved January